planet Earth, our beautiful home, also known as the Blue Planet due to its majestic oceans that cover the surface. Wonderful, isn't it? Some people might love the aquatic ambiance. Some might deeply fear it. But at the end of the day, all of us know how essential our oceans are to human society. They provide us with oxygen, food, transportation, commodities, tourism, and much more. Nevertheless, not a lot of us value our salty waters as we should, and end up harming them in multiple ways. Ocean acidification, piles of floating trash, and sometimes one of the worst outcomes possible: extinction of sea animals. Extinction isn't just an unfortunate event. When one species is completely wiped out, all the other life forms in their surroundings feel it and suffer in their absence. Our society often overlooks the vitalness of marine life on our planet. And I'm not talking about the animals that everyone loves and are all over the media: bottlenose dolphins, orcas, king penguins, and so on. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying those species are not important. They are equally valuable as other marine beings. However, sometimes people forget that less popular species are also vital in their ecosystem, and they are disappearing without leaving a mark because of underrepresentation in the media. Have you ever heard of a sea mink, a Chinese paddlefish, a Java stingery, stellar sea cow? I bet you haven't. And unfortunately, you will never see them, because all four of them have vanished from planet Earth. For now, even though these and many more species have gone extinct, our oceans can still function properly. But if marine life degradation continues at this rate, more animals will disappear. And guess what? No one will notice, because the media does not talk about it. That is the reason why I'm here today, to show you that these not so valued species matter, and plenty of them are currently threatened actually. So what I want you, dear viewer, to think about today is, what will happen to their ecosystems if these underrated species disappeared? Likely? Let's start with one of the most extraordinary creatures on Earth. They can hatch eggs all year round, resist venom, and even change their sex. But despite their superpowers, they're often overlooked in the wild. What I'm talking about is the clownfish. Okay, clownfish are not that underrated. He's literally Nemo. Kids love seeing them, they look silly and cute, their colors are eye-catching. Even I wish I had one. But a lot of people think of him as just another background character in the ocean, so he is quite underrated when it comes to his role in the wild. Clownfish are actually a crucial species in the ecosystems they inhabit. That means that without them, the environment would be deeply impacted. Despite its small size, the absence of Mr. Nemo here would mean unprotected anemones, broken food chains, decay of energy levels and trophic levels, and much more. Everybody knows that clownfish are best friends with anemones, which means these two have a mutualistic relationship. While the anemone provides the clownfish food and shelter, the fish acts as a bodyguard towards its host anemone. It improves water circulation, protects them from predators, provides nutrients through its waste, and clean off parasites and debris. But this cute orange swimmer is more than just an anemone lover. A study by Titus et al. Showed that anemones that host a certain type of clownfish actually exhibit distinct microbiome from anemones that host other kinds of clownfish, or do not host any at all. So basically, if you put a clownfish in an anemone which he doesn't belong to, that ecosystem will not function well, and the whole environment that surrounds them will be affected. If that already causes trouble for the poor anemones, imagine the imminent chaos if the clownfish simply disappeared. As I said, let's follow up with the legend of the deep, the sand tiger shark. Sand tiger sharks are scattered all around the world, so if they all died, several parts of the planet would feel it. Sand tiger sharks are also predators, and like every predator, they have essential roles in the waters they inhabit. One of them is offering shelter to other animals, such as the round scat. A study by Nicholas C. Coleman and Aaron J. Burge demonstrated that one commonality that emerges is that the presence of a high trophic level predator alleviates perceived risk to prey by providing a refuge effect associated with behavioral changes in prey. In other words, round scats feel safer and can move more easily around sand tiger sharks. Without these big guys, there would probably be a decline in round scats' population, as they would be unprotected from other mesopredators. That could result in a boom of mesopredator population, which would then die faster due to the lack of rat scats, which could finally result in a massive increase of primary producers, such as zooplankton. And overpopulation of zooplankton could eventually lead to hypoxia, which is the lack of oxygen dissolved in the water. Obviously, this would take a lot of time to happen, so it's not as dramatic as it sounds. However, silent changes are the ones that can harm the environment the most. I bet you didn't know, but the sand tiger shark is listed as vulnerable globally by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and even critically endangered in some parts of the world. And protecting the round scat isn't their only role. They also regulate the food chain, increase biodiversity, and keep the nutrient cycle, for example. You see how critical it is to keep this shark around? If it just vanishes from Earth, you know exactly what will happen. You guessed it. The last ocean wonder we will talk about today is the cownose stingray. Many people often overlook the cownose rays because their appearance is not as attractive as their relatives, such as the spotted eagle ray, for example. Okay, I know you're hypnotized, but let's go back to our smaller and opaquer friend. While I think cownose rays are extremely adorable, look at me petting one of them, many don't have the same opinion as me and end up not wanting to know more about their vital role. Cownose rays are foragers, which means they actively seek out their food and resources in the wild and spend a large amount of time doing it. You will rarely see a cownose ray procrastinating, just lying on the floor waiting for the food to arrive. Wish I could relate. They are also benthic predators, which means they live near the seafloor and prey on other marine creatures. These two features of the cownose ray make them a vital part of their ecosystem, as their digging and flapping oxygenates sediments and mixes nutrients on the seafloor, which increases microbial and invertebrate biodiversity, as scientists have suggested. I know moving sand around might seem irrelevant, but it is actually crucial to maintain microbial life and stability on seafloors. Besides, cownose rays are important to maintain the balance in the food chain, as they are the main predators of mussels, clams, oysters, and crustaceans. Therefore, if these rays vanish from our planet, there will be a huge boom on bivalve population, which will result in overgrazing of seagrass beds, loss of microbial biodiversity and stability, and suffering for apex predators that have the rays as their main prey. Those will die more frequently due to the lack of prey, which will cause an even greater chaos to the cownose stingray's environment. And even though this all seems impossible, here are some bad news for you. The cownose ray's conservation status is classified as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and its population is still decreasing. They are especially vulnerable to overfishing and ocean littering, since they have a slow reproduction rate and very low birth rate. Females give birth to only one pup per year. We must pay more attention to them. Now, considering this decrease in their population, look at what will happen if they were indeed all gone. You know the drill. There would be... Okay, I know this was the most interesting, mind-blowing, life-changing video you have ever seen in your life, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you here. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you start valuing our 3 underrated friends more, and many other unpopular species too. They deserve it. They matter. Please protect our oceans. Thank you, and see you next time.